Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. I'd like to welcome you to another uh, session of talking about Congo. And primarily, I'm talking about my recent trip from June to September, the end of September. And I'm going to be talking about some of those things. And it's titled Air Travel in the Congo. And the reason why I'm talking so much about air travel is because it is necessary. Where you could drive from, say, Indianapolis down to Atlanta or up to Chicago and not have to take a commuter flight. But here in the Congo, or there in the Congo, you have to take flights because uh, driving those short distances would take you hours, if not days. Like to go from Kinshasa to Kananga would take you probably 2 to 3 days of really hitting the road, bad roads. Uh, it would just be impossible. So most people fly, even though it's only about uh, 400 and some miles. You just can't make a 400 mile trip in any time that's reasonable. So it's a lot different because of the roads. And primarily, again, I'm talking about this because uh, on this trip, since I went to 2 different locations, I had to take 4 trips. I went out to Loja and returned, and then I came back from Loja and I went out to Loja and then came back. Then I went to Kananga and back. So that was 4 trips I had to make. Normally, I only make 2. I would go out to Kananga somewhere and then stay out there, and then would not have to worry about that. So it was 4 trips. How that compares to the United States, I want to say that flying in the Congo is almost like commuter flights. You would take uh, a, commuter flight to say you're flying from a hub. Let's say if you were flying Delta, the hub is in Atlanta, you would fly up to Charlotte, fly back to Atlanta. If you with United and the hub is in Chicago, you would fly from maybe Indianapolis to Chicago, someplace like that. So it's like flying. The hub is Kinshasa. So all planes, the jets come in, the international jets come into Kinshasa, and you have to leave there and go out to Kananga in my case, and also go out to Loja. So when I did this, uh, I found that there was 3 big things that I was really worried about that worried me. Number one is the arrivals and departures. And I'm not just talking about you're supposed to leave at 8 o'clock and you leave at 8:30 or 8:25. You may be sitting at the airport for hours, or you may get a phone call that morning that say that you are not going, and so therefore they've canceled your flight that day. So you would not know. If you know the day before, that's good, but sometimes it is the morning of you find it. So that's what happened to me when I was in Kinshasa, getting ready to go back to Kananga. It They kept canceling the flight. They canceled it 2 days in a row. So you're waiting around, incurring expense in a hotel, and you don't know what to do. Also, arrival times. Arrival time, once you take off, you kind of know in most cases what your arrival time going to be because of what plane you're on. If you're on a regional jet plane like we have in the United States, or if you're on a prop plane, But sometimes they switch planes, so you think you're going to get there on a prop plane, and you wind up getting on a jet plane, so you leave early or you arrive later. So you have those situations. And finally, what happened to me when I was going out to Loja, I actually, at this time, I got on the plane thinking I was going to fly directly from Kinshasa to Loja, and we was on the plane, and all of a sudden I wasn't paying attention to what time it was or whatever. I'm just sitting on. It was a noisy prop plane. I was cramped. All those type things that's diverting your attention. And when we started landing, I'm thinking, oh, we're there already. And then all of a sudden I hear people talking about, oh, this is not Loja. Where are we at? And and people start saying, oh, we're in Chumbe. And I'm going, what? Where is that at? I had no idea where we were landing. But, we landed, we let people off, and that took another 2 hours uh, to get into to get into uh, uh, the into Loja, because even though Chumbe was only maybe 30 to 45 minutes away, uh, we had it was a really uh, a problem. So you got that, so you may be dropped off at a different point. Also, you may all of a sudden you may be thinking you're going to go directly from Kananga to Kinshasa, and they may say, "Oh no, we're going to go through Loop Bujimai first." So you add more time to it because they decided they were going to go a different way to pick up people, or whatever the reason is. So the second big thing is comfort. You know, it's a since all the luggage is manual, you don't know what's going on with your luggage. It always takes a long time to check in and a long time to get your luggage. Probably 2 to 3 times as much time it takes us here in the United States to pick up our luggage and to drop off our luggage. Even with the security manners, they don't have most in these small airports. They don't have uh, X-ray machine, so they open your luggage, want to look through it, blah blah blah, and you go. Also, for comfort, if you're on an older plane, the seats may not uh, work properly. You may not want to recline, but your seat is in a permanent reclining thing. Your tray table may not work, or it may not stay up because it's broken, so it's always down in front of you. So that's a problem. So you don't think that's a problem, but if you're on a small plane, noisy plane, for about 2 hours or 3 hours, that gets to be a pain in the neck. And also, uh, if you're on a plane and they're full with freight, they may put luggage under your seat. So you think maybe you could stretch out your feet in front of you, and they have already put luggage under your seat in front of you, so you cannot even store your own stuff. So you may have to hold your bags to go to the next city, to go to the city. So that's, it's always something, dealing with luggage, seats, and all that type of stuff. And finally, safety. What I find out that they make the announcement, cut off your phone. Nobody cuts off their phone. We'll be going down the runway. People be talking, and they'll be talking. We lift off into the air, and people be talking until finally they lose their signal. All of a sudden, we're getting ready to land. You hear people going back on the telephone talking. Oh yeah, I'm arriving. Blah 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 blah. So that is a problem. I've already mentioned the seats. Also, you got seat belts. The seat belts. People tell you, they say, okay, fasten your seatbelt. A lot of people, unfortunately, have never been on a plane, and they don't know how to operate the seat belts. So, you have to, help your neighbor in this case to make sure that they're buckled in, and also they tell them to leave them buckled, and so you never know, and you just hope that there's no turbulence, because of course if you're sitting next to them, they're gonna potentially hurt you. And finally, during COVID with masks, they it's one of those situations where you're in close quarters and they may not be wearing their mask properly. They will have one and they will have it around their neck. And since you do eat on the flights, uh, they take it off and don't put it back on. So the big plus is meals. You do get sometimes you get hot meals or at least a cold sandwich and a beverage of your choice: Sprite, Cokes, Fantas, beer. Uh, you can get that. You just tell when they come down to serve stuff. They ask you what you want. You can get coffee, tea, water. I mean everything at no charge. That's all included. And then on some of the flights, you do get a warm meal, and it's a cooked meal, and it's warm. It's usually the basics like a meat and potato, meat and starch. But that is really a plus over the airlines here in the United States, where you only get a some peanuts, or you have to some airlines you have to pay for your Cokes, or you get some pretzels or whatever the case may be. So there are some good points, or one good point about Congo, but I tell you, uh, travel from city to city is no thing where you can fly there and it's going to take 2 to 3 hours and you be done and you have the rest of your day. It usually takes up your whole day from the time you leave to the time you get there. You have blown a whole day and you're tired and you're disgusted and it takes the most out of you. So that's what I had to kind of update you on that. And I had to take 4 trips. So that was 4 trips I had. And now I'm not even going to tell you that due to COVID restrictions, they wanted to see tests, they wanted to do this and wanted to do that, which was all on the top of it. But I'm gonna cover that in another episode. But I'd like to thank y'all for stopping by, and we will talk with you tomorrow. Take care of yourself, be kind to one another, and we will see you then for another session of talking about Congo and my latest trip in June to September. So thank you again, and we will talk to you later. Take care, everyone.